I gotta ask you, man, because I know you got a history with Diddy, man. How you feel about the situation between him and Cassie?
Well, when it comes to like, I can't really talk about the people that's, and not to take away from any person that accusing him, you know what I mean? But because I still be careful what I say because I live in Saudi Arabia. And if, and part of our religion that if you accuse somebody of something, if you don't have 4 witnesses, the punishment come back on us. So I can't really say if he really done that to these girls or not. And that's not even to take away from him, but I know he's a weirdo. You know what I mean? Like we've been hearing some stories about him that he been doing some weird things and moving weird. And he always been, you know what I mean? Always been a snake type of dude. So it's not surprising that when you hear all types of crazy stuff coming out now, you know what I mean? We always heard that he was, moving in a strange way. And it wasn't surprising when we did hear like he was part of this and he put the hit out on Pac or he paid for it. It wasn't surprising for us because you got to understand, like, he always been a very fidgety person, like, like a scary, nervous individual. Scary people with money do some scary things. You understand? Because he never was a person that was built to confront stuff on his own. So when you're dealing with an individual, and that's why I never liked these type of people, and that's why I don't really, really care too much for him, because it's similar to the people that murdered my mother and father. They paid money. They were scary to confront my parents head up, so they pay somebody, and he's that type of individual. He's a snake. You know what I mean? So I never really, and that's one of the reasons when they were trying to get me to stand on the stage with him. Back then, this was 20-some years ago when we was at the MTV Awards, and they was like, this is for your career. This is good for you guys. And deep in my heart, I just said, look, I know it's something weird with this individual, his hatred for Pac. I just can't do this. Even if it's going to make my career goals big or whatever, it's just something that I don't feel comfortable with. You know what I mean? And that's one of the main reasons. So when I see all the stuff coming out now, I say, I'm glad I snatched the mic from him. And I'm glad I, you know what I mean, sabotage that MTV, song and tribute that we were supposed to do together, because I just never really feel these type of individuals. I don't like snakes, you know what I mean?
Real talk, man. So y'all been hearing about this since back then?
Bro, we've been hearing stuff for ages about the guy, you know what I mean? Like, so, and I think also from a business standpoint of view, I think the music industry is one of the most corrupt industries on the planet. And I know somebody personally, and I'm not even going to go into details, that did one of the biggest hits of Biggie's career. And he told me when he sent the beat to Puffy, he just stole it from him. So just from the amount, how you doing business, you cannot do business that way and expect for you to continue to be successful, because eventually it will come back. So we always heard about, from that standpoint of view, just doing people dirty, just snaking people for money, and every evil thing you can think of. They just, you know what I mean? So that's sad, because when you come from our background and we get into the music industry, for example, and they start becoming these CEOs, the first thing they start talking about, man, we're going to do our own record company because we tired of the white man stealing from us. You know what I mean? And then you get these black CEOs, they come do the same exact thing to black artists. Yeah, so you keep seeing that cycle where you like, that's why the music industry, I always say, is one of the most corrupt industries on the planet, because, everybody's out for themselves. You know what I mean? Everybody's out for themselves. So the same thing they complain that the white, CEOs are doing, the black CEOs do it to the same thing to the artists.
So when you see the situation that Diddy in right now, right, you not surprised?
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, you just always heard he was cutthroat. I'm surprised he survived that long. I used to say, well, he probably rubbing shoulders with the people, those, I don't get into that conspiracy, Illuminati and stuff like that, where people start saying it, but I definitely believe that it's in the music industry, there's some higher people that's very corrupt and evil. And I remember when we first, and I didn't really understand it, but when we first, like the time that I first met Pac, we was in a group called Dramacidal. We went from being young thugs to Dramacidal, then we became the Outlaws. And I remember when Pac was locked up and we would go visit him, and he was telling us that, because when we was Dramacidal before the Outlaws, we had a quick record deal with Interscope Records. And I remember when Pop used to say stuff, he was like, I swear to God, he used to say, you know, you're gonna go meet this person at Interscope, and you know, they devils. I didn't really understand what he meant by that. He's like, but you know, you gotta play it right, and you know, they gonna give us a record deal, but they just straight devils, you know what I mean? So, and now I understand. These people cutthroat, you know what I mean? You don't see no CEO. If you look at any rap record, the CEOs from these rap records, they not part of our community. Meaning that they come from a different background than us. Most of them are ran by certain individuals. And what happened is they never give back to the community. You never heard of the CEO of Interscope Records, the CEO of Sony Records. These people making billions of dollars off of black music. You never heard them once say, let's open up a school in the black community. Let's give healthcare to the rappers. Let's go open up community centers for the black people. But they taking all this money. You understand? When an individual died, have you ever heard of a record company that paid for a funeral of a dead rapper? Besides Suge Knight, Suge paid, you know, when Pac put it in his will, he wanted to go cremate it. Suge paid $1 million to cremate him. But these people, so now when I hear, when I think back on when Pac was calling them devils, it's like these people are really devils. They just out for money. They don't care who die in the process. They don't care what happens in the process. They don't care who lives are destroyed, as long as that money coming in.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. But for me, right, when I look at the situation, I look at it like karma. You know, he finally getting everything back that he got away with from back then. And, you know,
Arrogance, you gotta humble yourself. You know what I mean? You gotta understand, like, you can't carry yourself with that arrogance as if you're untouchable, because the creator of the heavens and the earth can destroy you 1 second. And I maybe he's saying that now. Sometimes people be thinking they're untouchable because they get away with certain things so much, and they get careless and they get arrogant. And I think that's what he's going through. You know what I mean?